Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ifama. So today we are going to be making this beautiful sweatpant. So if this looks like what you are interested in, definitely watch to the end, and please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. Let's dive into the video. Mark this out as my guideline. That means I'm going to be taking all the measurements I need from this line here. Okay, so if you're working on your direct fabric, by now if you have been following the channel, would have already known that we place our fabric on fold and we get the fold by dividing our thigh measurements by 2 and adding 1 inch to it. Okay, so I'm going to pretend I'm getting my fold now. I'm going to divide my thigh measurement by 2, and what I have I'm going to be placing here. All right, so the half I'm going to be using it as to get my fold. Okay, so because this is going to be a sweatpant, this is a sweatpant, so it's going to be very free. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to get my crotch measurements, which in other words we know as body rise. Okay, so my crotch measurement I'm going to be using for this is total of 12 inches. It's going to be free. All right, if I'm making my corporate pants, I don't normally use 12 inches. Sometimes total of everything is going to be 11, but for this I'm going to be using total of everything to be 12 inches. Okay, I'm saying total of everything because I'm going to be putting 3 inches band, and I'm going to be minusing that 3 inches band from whatever I have here. So 12 minus 3 is going to give us 9 inches, which means I'm going to be using 9 inch to get the crotch for the front. All right, so I'm going to add half inch to it, making it 9.5 inches. This is because we are still going to remove half an inch from the top here to slant our front, because we are not always straight on the waist in the front. So I'm going to be removing half an inch from there. So I'm going to be using 9.5 inches instead of our normal 9 inch. Okay, so here I just marked my crotch line. All right, so from this is going to be our out seam. So from our out seam here, I've divided my thigh measurement by 2. Whatever I have, I'm going to mark it here, as we all know, on this exact line. Okay, because that is going to be our thigh line. All right, so here this is what we have, and then I'm going to add 1 inch to it. All right, so now that I've gotten this, I'm going to go ahead and connect it with a straight line. So this is what I have. This is what I have. So let me label this the thigh line. Thigh. Okay. So having gotten this, I'm going to go up from the thigh measurement by 2 inches. Okay, this is to get my hip. Now this varies from the size, the hip measurement you're working with, and the height also. If you're working for someone that is very tall, you can use 2.5 in that case. Okay, so here I'm going to be using 2 inches for my case here, and I'm going to be connecting this with a straight line. All right, so when I've gotten this, I'm going to label this hip. Okay, hip line. All right, so on this line here now, I'm going to take my round hip measurement divided by 4. Note that I divided my thigh measurement by 2. All right, you are going to be dividing your thigh measurement from your thigh measurement down to the hem of the pant by 2, and when it comes to the hip, you are going to be divide it by 4, and you're also going to divide your waistline by 4. So my hip divided by 4 is what I'm going to be placing here, and I'm also going to be adding 1 inch allowance to it. All right, so my hip plus 1 inch, this is what we have. All right, so having gotten this, I'm just going to extend this same measurement here. Okay, whatever we have when we divided our hip measurement and adding 1 to it is what we are going to also place on our waistline. All right, so I'm just making sure that I'm on the same. Okay, so I'm going to connect it with a straight line down to the crotch line, down to the thigh line. Okay, so this is what we have. All right, so based on what we are making now, we are going to be gathering the waist with a band. The waist is going to have an elastic. I'm going to leave the waist like this because it has an elastic. The only thing I'm going to do on that waist part is to come down on the flap area, by half of an inch. Okay, I'm going to come down here by half of an inch, then I'm going to connect it back to the tip of the waist here. All right, you can do this with a slight curve if you have, all right, because it's not supposed to be straight like this. Okay, so have you seen, I'm connecting it back to the tip of my waist. So let me just label this the waist. Okay, so I connected the half with came down by back to the tip of my waist here. All right, so having gotten this, the next thing I'm going to take is to divide what we have here on our thigh line. I'm going to divide it by 2. Okay, my thigh measurement, I'm going to divide it by 2. This is to get the center of the pant we are making. Okay, so when you divide here your thigh measurement by 2, whatever you have at the center is the center of your pant. Then from here I'm going to take the length of the pant. The length I'm working with is 45. I'm going to place 45 here. All right, I'm working with length 45. I'm going to mark 45, then I'm going to connect it with a straight line like this. All right, so because this is going to be a sweatpant, I'm not going to be, the only thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect this thing straight down. I'm not going to be minusing anything or taking anything out of this measurement. Okay, I'm just going to take it all the way straight down to the hem of the pant. All right, so I'm going to take whatever I have in the thigh from here to here of the thigh. I'm going to put the exact same thing on the hem as well, so we can connect. All right, so this is what we have. I'm going to just extend this line to meet that measurement we have there. Then I will go ahead and connect straight, or you can decide to just remove half an inch from both sides. You can remove half an inch from here, you can remove half an inch from here, and just connect it back. Okay, with whatever works for you is what you are going to be doing. So let me go in by half of an inch on both sides, making it 1 inch, which means we just minus 1 inch from what we have from the thigh measurement. Okay, so having gotten this, I'm just going to go ahead and connect it up to the thigh line. So this is what we have. All right, so in case if you still want to just draw your middle line, which is not of any importance in this case, but in case you still want to draw your center line, what you have to do is divide your round ankle measurement. Okay, this is the base of the pant, so divide whatever you have here into 2, divide into 2, and then your center, what you have as the middle point, that place is the center of your pants. So just go ahead and connect all the way up to the thigh line like this. Okay, but we are not making use of it in this pant because we are through with the cutting already. We are through with the drafting of this upper part already. Okay, so this is what we have. All right, so the last thing we are going to do now is to get our flap curve here. And what I'm going to do from this angle here, I'm going to go out by 0.75, that's 3/4 of an inch. Okay, go out by 3/4 of an inch, then you use your curve to connect. All right, like this. Okay, okay, so this is what we have here. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out. So before I cut out, let me just make all the parts we are cutting out visible so that we can follow better. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out. All right, this is the front part. I'm going to go ahead and cut. So this is what we have for the front. We are going to go ahead now and cut the back. So for the back, what I did was I pinned the front pattern we already cut out on a fresh pattern paper, and I made sure I leave at least 1 inch on both sides of the paper and also at the top. Okay, but the top is going to be, just make sure you leave at least 2 inches on the top and the side 1.5 inches on both sides, but we are going to be making use of 1 inch on both sides. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, like I just said, I'm going to be using 1 inch. I'll add 1 inch here and add 1 inch to the other side, but on the flap I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches on the thigh here. Okay, and then I will be marking 1 inch till I get to the hem of the pant. Okay, on the other side as well, 1 inch till I get to the hem. So on the waistline, I'm going to be going up by 1.5 inches. Okay, so I was saying for this center front, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch. Okay, and just shape in the center front by 1/2 inch, then just connect it to the thigh line here. So I can go ahead now and just trim it out. Okay, so after I've gotten this, I'm going to go ahead for the back as well to go out on the center by 1 inch. Okay, go out by on the center by 1 inch, as you can see me doing. Just from the center, remember that this is the line here, the flap line, so it's still that 1 inch till I get to this level. All right, then I'm going to extend the crotch. I'm going to extend the crotch line like so. Okay, so I can go ahead now and connect all the dots like this. All right, so here, this 1.5 inches we went up by, I'm going to connect it to meet the waistline here. This is because we are supposed to have equal amount of fabric on the shaping side, so that when we are shaping it, the back is not going to be longer than the front. So the only place the back is allowed to be longer than the front is this center flap here. Okay, remember that this is the center for the front and that will be the center for the back. So I'm going to go ahead like this now and connect like this, meeting the waist of the front. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting the 1 inch that we came out by. I'm just going to connect it till I get to the hem. This is how it's looking now. So I'm going to go ahead and draw out my curve. Okay, so this is what we have. This is the front and this is the back. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out what you can see on the paper. Okay, so this is what we have. The next thing I'm going to do now is to cut out the pocket. All right, so this is the front. We are going to be cutting only on the front, so just ignore the back, they are still pinned together. So from the pocket, from the front waistline, I'm going to come down by 7 inches, which is normally the length of adult pocket. Okay, and I'm going to be going in by 2 inches. Okay, you can decide to go in by more than 2 inches, mind you. All right, you can decide to use 2.5, you can decide to use 3 inches. You just make it as bold as you want. All right, so at the end of the day, I went ahead to use 2.5 inches, and I'm just going to connect it to this point. I want it to have like a slight curve, so I'm going to be using this my curve here to get the pocket. Right, so this is what my pocket is going to look like. Remember that this pocket is going to be only on the front of this project. Okay, it's going to be only at the front of this project. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and start cutting out on my actual fabric. Head to weave. This is the pocket side and this is the flap side. This is for the front. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to put the style. That is one style I want to put. I just want to fold it into two like this. Just fold it into two equal parts. Make sure it's equal, especially for the thigh part. Okay, so make sure it's equal so that you can get the center of this front. All right, so this is what we have. Right, I'm going to press. This is the front, this is the right side of the fabric, so I'm going to press it flat because I want to be sewing I want to be stitching a very tiny sewing there. Okay, I'm going to show you what I mean later. So I'm just pressing it. I'm just pressing it, making sure it's very flat, making sure it's equal. So I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and I'm going to use 0.2 inches, just something very tiny, to sew from the waist down to the hem of this front. So mind you, this style is going to be just for the front. I'm going to do it for the both sides of the front. This is what I have after putting the style that I wanted to put. So the next thing we're going to go ahead to do now is to fix the pocket. All right, this is the pocket side, this is the right side of the fabric. Okay, so this is the right side of the pocket. So you are going to place the pocket on top of the fabric, right side facing each other. Okay, right side is going to be facing each other. Okay, so that by the time you like this, right side is going to be facing each other. So like this, you're going to sew with 0.5 inches. Okay, you're going to go ahead and sew with 0.5 inches. After sewing, you're going to notch it, then turn it to the inside like this. Okay, so you can then, if you weave yours just like me, I can just put it like this together like this and just match. All right, because I weave the down part, it's not going to be bad. But if you know weave the down part, we can as well, after you turn it inside, this is what it's going to look like. Right, after turning it, right, you're going to have something like this. So you can flip it to the wrong side like this, match, then turn everything over to the right side. So I'm going to be having a neat finishing here. All right, so if you don't understand it and want me to make a video for this, you can tell me in the comment section and I'm going to make a video just for you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and sew. So now I'm through with joining and this is what I have. This is what the back looks like and this is what the front looks like. Can you see? I also top stitched on top. Okay, so this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead now and join the back. I also went ahead to join the center. As you can see, I joined with 0.5 inches. I also joined the back with 0.5 inches and I'm going to go ahead to shape. All right, so as you can see, the way I place it now, you're going to find out that the back, right, you're going to find out that the back is bolder than the front. That is, the back is wider. Do not panic, that is the way it's supposed to be. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to place it like this, shape with 0.5 inches or 0.75 on both sides. All right, so after shaping the out seam, here is the outer seam and this is the inner seam. All right, I'm going to also go ahead and shape the inner seam with 0.5 or 0.75 as the case may be. Okay, so after shaping, I'm going to go ahead to fold it down with something tiny. This depends on the allowance that you added when you were cutting. Then we are going to come back and show us how to fix the band. This is where we are now. For this design that I put, after shaping, I just took the rope. This is just the way it comes. This is just the way it comes. So I just opened up the center of the joining, the shaping, opened it up like this, press it, then place this rope on top and just match on both sides. Okay, it's not hard. All right, so this is where we are now. Now it's time to fix our band. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is to measure your round waist. All right, so starting from wherever, but make sure you're measuring it one. Don't measure it like this. Okay, make sure you measure it round, just like you see me doing. I'll remove 0.5 inch for the joining, then I'll start measuring. You can measure with your tape too. All right, so this is what I have. I'm going to measure round. I'm going to measure round as you see me doing. Okay, I started from the center front, right? So this is where we are now. All right, so I'm going to cut off the excess. Okay, so this is our band. This is our band, like this. So what I'm going to do is fold it into two like this, and then I'm going to join the end here. All right, fold it into two as you can see now in the video, and then join this piece together. All right, so after joining, what you're going to do is take the wide elastic that you have. I prefer using 3 inches, but what I have here is 2 inches. All right, take it and just hold it like this, draw it very well, the way it's going to like gather the waist, right, like this. Okay, and then you fold into two. Okay, this is going to give you the full waist. Then you add 2 or 3 inches more. The mistake that some people make is once they stretch and fold, they just cut right in that place that they folded. At the end of the day, it's going to be very hard for them to like work with. You need it to be, we know we want it to be stretch a lot, but we also need it to have a little bit of allowance, so that when we are working round the band, we are going to have enough allowance to like actually sew it. Okay, so I'm going to like add 2 inches to this before I cut. All right, so as I join this side, I'm also going to join this side of the band, so that I also have a circle band the way I have. So I can also have a circle elastic the way I have a circle band. So let me go ahead now and join. So after joining, this is what we have, right? This is what we have. And for the elastic, I just placed one on top and I use my zigzag machine to join. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place my elastic in between like this, and I'm going to match directly on top of my fabric. I'm going to be making 2 lines. Okay, I'm going to be making 2 lines on my elastic, and the middle is going to be for the rope. Okay, so I'm going to be matching directly on top here, and make sure it's touching the elastic. As I'm sewing, I'll be drawing the elastic so that the thing will be gathering. Okay, so after sewing the top, I'm going to go ahead and sew the bottom as well. All right, so after sewing, we are going to have a little space at the center where we are going to be adding our rope. So let me go ahead now and sew. What I have, I went ahead to trim out the excess because the elastic I have is too small for the band. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and join. So while I'm joining, I'm going to be drawing it. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and join all the way around. While I'm joining, I'll be drawing it. Okay, if you draw it very well, it's going to gather the waist of the trouser. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and fix the band. So this is what it looks like after we are done. Again, if you are yet to subscribe, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Also turn on your post notifications, so whenever I upload a nice video, you will be the first to know. All right, see you in the next one. Bye.